Hey, what's going on, everyone? Hope all of you are doing well. I want to welcome you all to a movie review. And today I'm going to be reviewing the 1995 film Hackers. I did write down the actors and cast for this film so I didn't forget, but this film stars Johnny Lee Miller, Angelina Jolie, Jesse Bradford, Matthew Lillard, Lawrence Mason, Benoulli Santiago, Fisher Stevens, Lorraine Bracco. I'm not sure if that's pronounced right. Wendell Pierce, Penn Jillette, and Mark Anthony. Um, so we have Fisher Stevens' character, known as the Plague. He works for this big corporation that yeah, they don't really explain what the corporation is, but he works for this big corporation, and it just so happens that he's in charge of like their computer and making sure that nobody hacks their systems. And of course, this is guarded by Penn Jillette, who plays Hal. So the Plague basically created this garbage file that ends up having a virus on it, and basically what it's doing is it's taking funds from the corporation at a speed that within a certain date will reach over $28 million. Now he also works with Margot, who's played by Lorraine Bracco, or Bracco. I'm not sure how you pronounce her last name. And they're both up to this little scheme. But things start to go a little south when Joey, played by Jesse Bradford, finds this garbage file and makes a copy on a floppy disk. But then the Plague decides that he wants to try and, basically set them up. He has this idea of, hacking these cargo ships that are carrying oil and eventually hacking their system to where the oil will spill in the ocean and it will be traced back to the hackers and not him and Margot. Of course, Joey tries to tell his friends, who are played by Matthew Lillard, Lawrence Mason, Benoulli Santiago, and Angelina Jolie's character. Johnny Lee Miller plays Dade, Angelina Jolie plays Kate, Jesse Bradford, of course, is Joey. Matthew Lillard plays Serial, Lawrence Mason plays Nikon, and Benoulli Santiago plays Freak. Now, they basically know that Joey has been arrested, and he eventually meets up with Freak to give him the floppy disk and lets him know what's going on. Of course, he's being watched by the cops, who are played by Mark Anthony. He plays Agent Ray, and Wendell Pierce, who plays Agent Dick Gill. He's kind of the main head FBI agent who is basically trying to get these hackers. And Freak, Nikon, Serial, Kate, and Dade, they all basically are starting to realize what's going on and realize that they have 2 days and try to get help so that way they can clear their names and actually prove that the Plague is behind all this stuff that's about to go down. And yeah, it's a fun movie. The music I think is great. They don't really use a whole lot of like well-known bands. It's just a lot of techno music. I do like the fashion because it kind of gives you that 80s 90s type fashion, but with more of like almost a futuristic type feel. A lot of movies that would always be set in the future and what they thought the future was. The fashion kind of looks like that to a certain extent. They don't wear like these normal, clothes that you would see a lot of people, except for a few characters. I think everybody's great in this. I like the chemistry between everybody. You can definitely believe them as being friends, and the acting was good. I mean, for a film that came out in 1995 with a lot of not well known names at the time, for what it is, it's definitely a fun movie. Now it's cheesy in its own right. I mean, this is 1995 we're talking about, and I don't believe it did too well in theaters, but it did end up growing a cult following, and there's a lot of people who probably have never seen this movie, but there are a lot who have, and I just feel like when it comes to movies, it is a hidden gem. Now, I will state this: Lorraine Bracco, you guys are gonna, you may not recognize her face in this movie, and if you recognize her name, then I'm sure you know what she's been, career-wise, what she's best and well known for. She's well known for playing Ray Liotta's wife in Goodfellas, and she's also known for playing Tony Soprano's therapist in The Sopranos. So I was very surprised to find out that was her. She looks completely different in this movie. Fisher Stevens, you guys are going to recognize right away too. He's been in a lot of movies, especially in the 80s, but to me, he will always be well known as one of the henchmen for King Koopa in the Super Mario Brothers movie. Now, Benoulli Santiago, who plays Freak, I'm not sure what else he's been in. He seems to be one of those actors who may had, a short little career and may start, does stuff behind the camera and things like that. So I'm not sure what else he's been in. Lawrence Mason, who plays Nikon. Now, you'll recognize him right off the bat. A year before this was released, he actually played in The Crow. I believe he was Tintin. The thug with the knives that killed Eric Draven and Shelley. He's in this. Of course, Matthew Lillard. We all know who Matthew Lillard is. He's had a really productive career. Scream. He did a lot of movies with Freddie Prinze Jr. He's got the Scooby-Doo films, and to this day, he still acts. He does, a lot of, his movies are kind of a hit and miss. He's done straight to home video releases, he's done theatrical releases, he's played the main character, he's played a side character. So it's always interesting to see how his career has been, but he's been doing pretty well and he's still active to this day. We have Jesse Bradford, who plays Joey. You guys will recognize him right off the bat. I mean, he hasn't really aged at all. Since Hackers, he went on to do Clock Stoppers. He also went on to do Bring It On. He plays Elijah Dushku's brother. And he's been on a few other films throughout his career. Angelina Jolie, who's now a very well-known name, part of the MCU. I mean, anybody who is not a fan of Angelina Jolie knows who she is. Even if somebody doesn't watch movies, Angelina Jolie is a household name. And then, of course, Johnny Lee Miller. Johnny Lee Miller is, a great actor. He did Trainspotting 1 and 2. He did the short-lived Eli Stone. He did the American version of Sherlock, which was called Elementary, alongside Lucy Liu, and he's also in Dracula 2000, and he's had a pretty good career. So, it's got a great cast. The story is pretty interesting. It's not anything, extraordinary, but it's a fun movie. It's one of those movies you can get a bowl of popcorn, sit down, relax, and have a good time, or even just grab some Chinese food, a nice cold one, and just be entertained. It's a fun movie. I do like this movie. It's always been one of my personal favorites. So, with that being said, thank you guys for tuning in to my review for Hackers. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you enjoyed it, give this video a like. It helps me out. And comment down below what your thoughts are. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And until next time, guys, take care, and I'll see you in a future video. Peace.